Hello, welcome to the Glass Girls Network with me, Jonathan. Today I'm joined by Kieran, and we've got Andrew joining us as well. He's just behind the camera in our new little setup here, actually, haven't we? What do you reckon to it?
Yeah, the new home of the Glass Girls Network. Yeah, I mean, you've done an absolute cracking job. Oh, a lot of people, well, we're going to see it later, all the things that are up on the walls over that side and everywhere. Yeah, you've done a really, really good job transforming this place into a little Glass Girls Network HQ, so to speak.
Absolutely, it's almost like a shrine as well, that Stowby Shrine. We've got loads of memories and it's all in one room as well, and plenty of room on the other wall for future memories as well. So, plenty to look forward to this season on the Glass Girls Network, which we'll discuss in the next month or so. Lots of partnerships coming our way and lots of interest from people outside of Stourbridge as well, so who are looking to get involved with us. But all that's down the line to come. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what we've seen of Aid so far, which includes the YouTube video, his first interview, and also the first game that we attended together last week. Obviously, we won't announce the score because the club didn't, so we won't. But there's plenty to get into, isn't there? Just generally, from our last video to this video, how are you kind of feeling now about it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got about 1 million more players now, so...
we did ask for that, didn't we? So we need squad depth.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what we asked for, and we've got it. Yeah, I think it wasn't even that long ago when we did it, but everything just sort of in those couple of weeks, everything just sort of started coming out, all the news.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got me really, really excited again. Obviously, being at the game the other day, and seeing how well we all did. You know, all the new faces seem to fit in really, really well.
Mhm.
And obviously seeing some returning faces, some faces from last season.
Yeah.
It was all good. Yeah, it's good to be back, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we'll talk about Aid then. He done a video with, I believe it was Becky, and he was asked a few questions. So I was going to go through some of his answers. When he was asked about the summer, he said it's been a challenge, but he enjoyed it. Explained his 12 years managing experience and his background within women's football, and then stated that he wanted Tier 3 to test himself. Well, that was interesting, and no surprise really. You know, we kind of knew he's been around the game for a long time. He mentioned a couple of clubs that he was most notably at in the last 6 or 7 years. And then he went on to discussing his attacking football and a high press. And then he'd rather lose 2-1 than draw 1-1. So I guess that's kind of like going to be his mantra, isn't it? So he's kind of said something along the lines of, you know, he wants. Here he is on screen. There he goes. Good old Aid. He's pointing right at me there. I wonder what he's thinking.
What have you done? What have you done?
Yeah, I wonder what he's thinking there. But it's kind of what we discussed on the last video. Is what we saw in the pre-season game, which we'll get into later. But he's basically saying that if he's going to go down, he's going to go down with a fight. He's going to go attacking football. He's going to try and be exciting. He said that he'd rather lose 2-1 as opposed to draw 1-1. I guess at the end of the season, if he only needs a 1 point, then he might be different. But no, he's basically speaking very positively. What are your thoughts on that, Key?
Yeah, it's exactly what you want to hear from a fan, isn't it? You know, everyone wants to see their managers playing, you know, positive, energetic football. Like you say, you know, whether a few months down the line, whether that statement about taking a point or going for the win or whatever remains true, it's yet to be seen, I suppose. But yeah, it's very, very exciting sort of first words, isn't it? Really. Yeah, I don't think you can really ask for someone who's going to give us more, really, can you?
Yeah, and the players he's brought in as well, you can kind of see that, okay, you know, we might concede goals and we're going to be in the bottom half of the league, so we will concede a lot of goals, but at least he's brought in players who are excited, and we'll talk about those, or you and Andy could talk about those a little bit later as well. But from our first signs, he's actually sticking by his word there, isn't he, on that pre-season friendly. You can actually see that, okay, you know, we might concede goals at the back, but we're still going to go for goals, and we can see that. He then went on about the passion of the fans that the fans have, which was not obviously nice to hear. He described it as next level, and that Rosie Embley will be our captain. Yeah, I think Rosie is, for me, it makes sense. You know, she's been here one of the longest who's left. She's a leader. I think she's in a position of the field where she can lead. There's going to be a lot of pressure on her because she will have a lot of the ball in that area of the pitch. We saw a lot of centre back last year. She played in centre mid in the game that we saw last week. But Rosie Embley as captain, Was there any other options first of all?
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense, doesn't it? Obviously, you know, we've got people that have been in and around the squad for a while. You know, like Mill and Meg have been respectively a few years, obviously gone away and come back. However, they're obviously young players.
Yeah.
Potentially, that leadership isn't something they've developed just yet. Whereas an experienced player like Rosie, you know, having that tier 3 experience, yeah, knowing the league and knowing the club as well. Obviously, she's not been here years; she's been here a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know, you know, it's with a high turnover like we've had this summer. I guess, you know, it's what needed to happen. And yeah, Rosie, our new club captain. Looking forward to it.
No, it is absolutely, yes, and it'd be interesting to see the deputies as well, because like you said, there's quite a few new faces in, so I'm not sure if Rosie will be playing every game, because obviously there's a lot of games throughout the season. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see who. I don't mind the deputy being someone who's new to the team as well. You know, it might be a selling point to a player as well. You know, coming in and, you know, we can be one of the captains and one of the leaders, and there will be players that's been brought in as well who have been leaders in the past, just not at Stourbridge. So that'll be interesting to see who the deputy will be as well. But Rosie absolutely makes perfect sense for me. Tier 3 experience, as you said. Former Albion, she knows the league probably more than any player that's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the players will look up to her, won't they? And the fans obviously really rated her last season as well. So I think it's a decision that the fans will be happy with. Yeah.
100%.
19 new players wasn't by choice, he said, when it was about the summer and the amount of players that had left. But he's enjoyed it, and then he moved on to his aims. So he says the top half of the bottom half, 6 if possible, a good FA Cup run, and the County Cup final. So let's just go for, well, first of all, 19 players wasn't by choice, so he purposely said that.
Yeah.
You know, because he says 19 players left, but he purposely said that he didn't want them to leave. You know, maybe a few of them he might have moved on. We'll never know that, will we? You know, but like he purposely said, 19 players have chose to leave. So I think that's. I don't know why he would have said that, but there are reasons why he would have said it, and I get it completely. Do you think he's just trying to make fans aware that when they come next season, there are 19 new players, but it wasn't necessarily his choice? He wants people to know that, because he said it publicly, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's important, to be fair, because you know, we know how fast rumours circulate in football, and you know, there's been a hell of a lot surrounding Stourbridge this summer. So I think for people potentially not as close to the club as we are, that don't know sort of the ins and outs of what's happened with everything that's gone on. Yeah, I guess it might look a bit bizarre seeing all these players that have been here for years and years just moving on all at the same time this summer. So yeah, I guess giving that little bit of clarity to the whole situation would definitely help.
Yeah. So top half of the bottom half. So you're basically looking at between seventh and ninth. Can we just zoom in? I don't know if we can get that any better.
There we go.
It might get there.
We've been blurred out.
I'll leave you to play around that. You might be able to zoom in and zoom out. So between 7th and 9th, 7th and 10th, it might clear up in a bit. Or maybe swipe.
So we've got rid of Baggies and Wolves, we're leaving like
that. Yeah, there we go. The Black Country players, teams have gone. Is that optimistic? Is it realistic? I think if you saw us last season, for the first half of the season, we was in that position, weren't we? We was doing really well. I think at one point it was against Wolves, and if we'd win Wolves, we'd have gone above Wolves. And that one in September, that was like later on into the season. So I'm not saying that we're going to go that high up, but I think at one point last season, you know, we was looking up the table more than down the table.
Yeah.
I think we got about 12 of our points before Christmas, filed win, and then a point at the end against Huddersfield. So I do think it's possible. Obviously, every year is different, every team's different now as well. But it's going to be a challenge, isn't it? You know, is he saying that just because that's what the fans want to hear? Is he saying it because he truly believes that? Is he looking at the players who's brought in and he thinks that they're, you know, that kind of quality? That's a bold statement to make, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think I certainly hope he's saying exactly what he believes, because obviously it gives everyone a bit of you know, optimism going into the season. But I think, especially at this stage, it's so hard to predict. Obviously, a turnover like we've had, you know, you brought in X amount of players, but also loads of these teams on here would have changed massive amounts as well. You know, Wolves have had a bit of a clear out this season. You know, loads of players coming in and out of the rest of the teams. So it's so tough to sort of predict at the moment, I think personally. But
What would you be happy with? Because I'll tell you mine as well.
I think, yeah, I think just stability. What, like, obviously that's what we thought last season, stability in tier three. But then obviously the summer happened, so I guess it's just more of the same, really. Just staying afloat. You know, even if we finish 10th again,
yeah,
just making sure we have two teams that are, you know, on the table worse than us. I think that's so important, and just, you know, then we spent 2 seasons in tier three, and then you know you're starting to look like a well established team. So, you know, who knows where you can push on from there. But, you know, you need to make sure that we are actually doing that and staying within tier three itself. So, like I said, I think, you know, 10th, obviously any higher would be an absolute blessing. But
yeah,
10th, I'd be very happy with a 10th, just staying put in tier three.
Same as me, absolutely. For a number of reasons, I think it'll be very hard. If you have a look here, yes, we was very clear of 11th place last season by 7 points. Basically, we gained all of our points by December. If you look at it, you know, we didn't need to. It was like 7 points clear, and we got all those points by December. However, the jump above us, Albion was 10 points above us last season. You know, where we got to claw them 10 points back. Liverpool Feds 11 points above us. Derby, Halifax. I think Derby and Halifax were more likely, from what I'm hearing this year, especially Halifax, that we might be able to gain on more than Albion. But we'll give our predictions a little bit later. But yeah, for me, definitely 10th. And then if we can see attacking football and 10th, I'll be happy with that. More goals,
100%.
And 10th. I'll be happy with. A good FA Cup one. Couldn't be any worse than last season. You know, our first game was against Wolves away. Unbelievable. You know, not the best draw that we wanted financially as well.
No.
Obviously, we'll be able to put a bit more money into the club this year with the FA Cup one and the plate that's now offering the plate of the cup, which is now offering money as well. FA Cup one. We need a bit of luck, don't we? But
we do.
We've got to be one of the better teams in there, aren't we?
Yeah, obviously for the first few rounds, I think that we're in. It's sort of regionalised, isn't it? So, you know, there's a lot of teams lower than us. Obviously, last season we just had the absolute worst luck in pulling Wolves away
as well.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, there's a lot of money in it. Obviously, they increased it last season. We were just so unlucky to be caught on the wrong side of that when it could have really, really helped us.
Yeah.
You know, having that extra. Even just an extra couple of grand, you know, would have made a massive difference to our season, I think. So yeah, you know, I think it's really important that we get a good run in that. Hopefully, you know, we get an interesting draw, pull some old faces maybe. Obviously, a lot of clubs have taken our former players, so it'd be nice to get one of them, you know, and see some old faces again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the FA Cup this season. I think we can give it a good go.
And even like if we get another Championship club back then, like a couple of 3 years ago with Sheffield United when they came down, you know, something exciting there as well.
100%, yeah, something that brings people through the door. Obviously, attendances weren't quite what we imagined last season for us at home. So I think having you know someone big down there pulling crowds in, and then potentially if we give a good account of ourselves, hooking them people in. As we've always said, it only takes one game, right? Like to get hooked with Stour. So yeah, if that can happen, then hopefully we start building something even bigger at this club.
Yeah, and the first game it looks like will be Hull City at home, because the Burnley game I think might be played away from the Ward Memorial ground. So what a game! You know, it only takes one game. That first game could be Hull, the one where we could actually win that one. Out of all the games we've got this season, they're all going to be tough, but Hull is a lot more winnable than some of the other games on there. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. County Cup, he's come straight out and said that he wants a final.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all? Obviously, you know, we had 2 finals under Andy Fisher when he was in Tier 4. How amazing were they? County Cup, he's aiming big, isn't he? You know,
definitely.
He's aiming big, and it's not a bad thing, especially in the County Cup. Some of the teams might put out weaker teams. We know that we've got Wolves in there. Well, if it's the same as last year, Wolves, Rugby, Albion, and then the academy teams as well. Birmingham and Aston Villa Academy was in there as well. So yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? But I would love another cup final. Is it feasible? Is it something that we can do?
Yeah, potentially. I guess it's luck of the draw, right?
Another one,
yeah, you know, obviously there's some, like you mentioned, some really, really good teams in there that I'm sure will go toe to toe with quite a few of them. But then it's your likes of your Wolves, potentially even some of the academy sides who are maybe a step up from us.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's gonna be really really interesting. I always do like the County Cup because you do get some good local derbies. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's some lower league teams that are there as well. So yeah, it's always good for people getting game time, people grabbing a few goals. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, that night in Molineux a couple of years ago was really really special. Obviously, the scoreline wasn't what we wanted on that day, but the performance was one we could have been proud of, and I think it ended off a historic season, obviously going from tier 4 to tier 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's the iconic pictures of Fisher holding the trophy, the league trophy, while Wolves are off celebrating with the county cup. So yeah, if we can have some repeats of memories like those nights, I think we'll be very very happy.
100%, absolutely, yeah. So let's move on to the game that we have seen and try and link it all together. So, he's kind of explained there what he's looking at doing throughout the season, and it's all very positive in my opinion, because it's what the fans kind of want to see, and which is all great news. It was a good game. It was an exciting game. We got to see the players for the first time as well. It was against a well-established team. I'm not allowed to talk about the results, of course, because it wasn't broadcasted, so we won't say that. But to me, there wasn't any surprises because it's what I had said and it's what we've been discussing as fans, and we mentioned it on the last podcast. So we saw attacking football. It's very much like, okay, you can score against us, we can score against you even more so. If that's our mantra going into next season, I'm all for it. Obviously, it'll be a different level. It's not,
Yeah.
tier 4 standards, and I'm not naive enough to think that all that's going to happen. But if that is our mantra and we tighten up at the back, going forward, we do look exciting. Anything in particular prick your eyes at all?
Yeah, like you say, I think it was really, really positive to see us walking the walk after talking the talk, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you say, actually going out and putting on a performance that's positive, and the way that we sort of move the ball forwards, especially on the wing. We know we've got some quick players, so
Mm-hmm.
using them to the best of their abilities, and yeah, grabbing some goals. X amount of goals. Who knows how many there were?
Oh, that's a leak there. So there was goals.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really really good. It was nice to see some of the new girls that obviously we hadn't seen before.
Let's name them because that.
Yeah, some of the ones that impressed.
It was
us.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gwen was one of my standouts.
Gwen
I
Yester.
thought. Yeah, Gwen Yester.
She's already got a nickname. Gwen Yester.
Yeah. Just playing Gwen in 10. Just playing the balls through a little bit. Could have got a goal as well.
Mm-hmm.
We did really well to work the ball through her and then distribute it wherever it needs to go. She's one player that I'm really really looking forward to.
And we saw that, didn't we? Like, so we were speaking about it as fans, like, oh, is this going to happen? Is this the way we're going to play? And it was pretty much bang on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, we hear things, what's going to happen throughout the season, the way he likes to play. It's hard to keep secrets in women's football, even away from Stourbridge. Things still get back to you. But what happened on that day was exactly the way we thought it was going to be. But just because you think it's going to happen, you're still going to execute it as well.
Of course.
And that was perfect for me. So Gwen was the one pinging them balls, very pinpoint, which is obviously what you're going to need as well at the level higher. And seeing Daisy and Will went on to those. Leo in the box as well, who also had chances. For me that was exciting to see, and that's the way it's going to be, isn't it? Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and then looking towards the other end of the pitch, Harriet in goal. We'd heard things about her from some of the other guys who've been at the previous matches.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a good performance that was. Really commanding, vocal, exactly what you want from a young keeper.
Yeah.
And some really really good stops as well.
Yeah. We really need that. We need that vocality. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I don't know Aid enough on the sideline just yet, or his coaching staff, to see if they do running commentary through the game, or do they sit back and then just jump in every now and again. Hearing Harriet organise the run of things and just keeping the youngsters and the newer players on their toes, minute in, minute out, I don't see a problem in that. And I think it was great to see, and her doing that, I think we need to continue to do that. I think someone needs to keep some people on the toes. Someone needs to be the talker. She's come straight in, brand new team, goalkeeper, with the confidence to do that. For me, player of the match, closely followed by Gwen Yester. Yeah, two players I was really impressed with, if I'm honest, and
Yeah.
let's see if they can continue. She must have had quite a few shots against her on Sunday, and again that was against Donny Bells, so she will continue to have lots of shots against her, just like Jamie Lee Bamford did last season. If she can have the kind of season that Jamie Lee had, and be vocal, do other things as well, then we're going to be really impressed as fans, aren't we, with what we're seeing. So great news. But yeah, it is basically what we expected, and it was very exciting. And the buzz afterwards, a lot of people were saying, "Oh yeah, it is. I'm liking what I'm seeing." So the main thing is now that we carry that forward. That's our last pre-season game. Performance-wise, we ended on a high. Fans are on a high after that game. So let's see if we can take that into Wolves.
100%. Yeah, I think obviously it's a different test. We're not expecting Donny Bell to be at the same level that Wolves were, but I think the signs are there. The signs are there that we're a good team in the making. You know, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You've got to make those chances and score those goals. If you So yeah, I think we're going to take that into next Sunday against Wolves. Hopefully, I'm not expecting miracles, but hopefully if we can pull little bits of that, maybe we get some good moments in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll talk more about Wolves game shortly with Andrew, but just for me on that one, yes, we played Wolves before. Clements with Stourbridge haven't played Wolves before. The players that we've got now haven't played Wolves before. Wolves, as you mentioned earlier, have been up against it a little bit this season. To me, look, it's not going to be easy in the slightest, but it is slightly different now. It is a different challenge. We're going to set up differently. Yes, Aid will know. Sorry, not Aid. Maka will know everything that there is to know, because he's probably come up against everything at this level. So every tactic that Aid will have, Maka will probably have a counter for it. However, we don't know that for definite, and it might just take a bit of luck. Imagine if it's like 2-2 with 10 minutes to go, or even 2-1 down, or 1-0 down with like 10 minutes to go, when we start throwing a few players forward. How exciting is it for the fans? And I know that's wishful thinking, because we've been on the one score, but it's the first game of the season. Sometimes the best time to play some of these big teams is first game of the season, because they might not be sharp enough. We've got to have a bit of hope, haven't we?
Yeah.
What I dislike them, there's going to be 22 games this season. I don't want to write off 16 of them before they've even started.
No.
Just because that's a bit of an exaggeration, but write off probably 12 of them before they've even started, because that's just boring for fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, there's only 5 games home and away as well. 5 games that I'm really looking forward to, because they mean something. But the other 6, we've got to go in there and at least compete, haven't we? Or at least try. And if we get battered, then we get battered. But we can't just think to ourselves, oh right, well, Burnley is hard, we're not going to get theirs in there. Forest away, not going to get it. We've got to look forward to these games, haven't we? So I definitely am. Predictions for the league, okay?
Yeah, like I say, I think I'd be happy with 10th, and I think that's where we could end. I think there are 2 worse teams probably that are going to be worse than us throughout the course of the season. Who those will be, I'm not exactly sure on just yet. Potentially the 2 coming up, Kelso and Hull. But potentially one of these teams that have stayed up might slip down, depending on how things go with them. But yeah, I'll say 10th, keep us afloat, and then build for next season. I'll say that.
Last season I predicted 10th, and my stretch target would have been 9th, leapfrogging Albion. I think this year my target is 10th, and my stretch target is 9th, but leapfrogging maybe Halifax or Hull.
Yeah.
I think as a club that's is established now in Tier 3, if we're looking at Hull and Castle, who have just come up, who have got momentum of course, and who are very good teams, if we're looking at them thinking, hang about, we're going to finish below them, then something has gone a little bit wrong. So I do think we should be aiming to definitely finish above them. I don't think Halifax have had the greatest summer, so I think they're going to be the ones for the taking. But it's going to be hard. Do I see us getting a point against Stoke? If we had to say yes or no, probably not. Where we did last year, are we going to win Albion 7-2? Unlikely. So I think there's going to be points last season that we did get that we probably won't get this year. However, I do think there'll be additional points somewhere else down the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, my prediction will be 10th. I think Calcer has got a very nice pitch, and I think the opposition will love playing on there. Hull were very tough when they played us last time, but that was a year or two ago now. Can't even remember. It was so long ago.
2 years maybe.
Yeah, a lot's happened in that time, so I don't want to compare against there. But we've got a lot of players who are new to the team, but they're playing for Aid. They're playing the way that Aid wants. So I just think tighten up at the back a little bit. We'll create chances. We'll get some goals. And let's not forget, last year, and I know it's completely different now because we've got 19 new players, but we up until Christmas we were above 10th. You know, it's only because we had a bad second half of the season. So what happens if this season we could just get a few more points on top of that?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And then there's like, you know, we had games where we could have got more points last season. I forget the one, was it Halifax away? Where they scored in the last minute. We could have got something there.
Yeah.
Derby at home, we were 1-0 up for the first half, and then we sort of collapsed. But could that have changed if we did something differently potentially? So yeah, I think there's points like you say that we dropped last season that maybe we could claw back. But does that mean we're going to lose points in other areas? Who knows? But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting no matter what you think.
I'd love to play more tier 3 teams in pre-season if I'm honest, and I know it's easy to say that, but we're a little bit excited, the fans are, and some of us are keeping each other grounded, but like what we saw against Donny Bells was exciting. Let's see now how we can do in tier 3. 4 of our first 5 games are against like potentially top 4 opposition. You know, it's going to be very tough. Wolves away, Burnley at home, then Hull, then I think got Forest and Stoke. I can't remember which way around they are. But Forest is away, Stoke's at home. If I can get 3 points out of them first 5 games, I'll be over the moon. And that's not me writing off 4 games, as I mentioned earlier. I don't want to write them games off because we know that we can get something. But I don't want to go in there thinking we're going to get something, not get something and say it's a failure, because it's not going to be a failure. To not pick up any points against those 4 teams definitely isn't a failure at this level. But then the press is on Hull, isn't it? But to add to the positive side of that is we've also got Castle at home before Christmas, and we've got Liverpool Feds at home before Christmas, and of course Hull. So before Christmas we could have 9 points against them, pick up another 3 points somewhere on the line, whether it be draws or 1 win. Then you're going into Christmas thinking, yeah, happy days, happy days. Let's see how far up the table we can go. Yeah. Lots to think about, lots to go on. It starts this Sunday, so okay, I'll leave you to chat to Andrew, who's eagerly waiting, and thanks for joining us as always.
No problem. We'll see you lot on the other wall.
On the other wall.
With the other wall.
Andrew
Wall. Yes.
Critical.
And just like that, we're back on the new wall. We've been a substitution for the Glasgow Network. Going off is number 1, John Foster, in for number 2, Andy Wall. And we're back. Oh, look at the wall. Look at these. We've got some memorable photos. Which one's your favourite, Andy?
Oh, it's probably that one.
Yeah, it's probably that one, isn't
together,
it? Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's quite a nice one.
Some good times that we
Exactly.
had. So yeah.
Yeah. However, the future is now, and we're going to be talking about some of the new players that have come in since we last did our video a couple of weeks ago. But actually, let's talk about some of the players that have moved on to new pastures just beforehand. Niamh Murphy officially retired from football. It's a bit of a sad one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think she said in her post she's been putting it off for a long time, but come start the season, she said, "Oh, now's the time I hang up my boots and just thank football for everything it's given her." So hopefully she'll be in the game in some capacity. So I think she's, whether it's coaching or something else, she's got a lot more to give to the game as well. And so it's been a privilege to watch her play for Stourbridge. She's a great centre back, also captain the side as well. So yeah. So wish her all the best in whatever she decides to do next.
100%. Obviously, she was actually down there on Sunday to watch us play. So maybe she's taken a season to do a bit of ground hopping, to go and see her mates around the different clubs. But yeah, obviously all the best to Niamh. One of the nicest people that we've come across. Enjoying women's football. So yeah, all the best to you. Speaking of incredible people in women's football, Favour gone to MK Dons. yeah, but I guess that's closer to home, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, she was coming when she played for us at Stour, coming all the way from Northampton, and
Yeah,
before she passed the test and got a car, I was like, the amount of hours, several hours she's spending travelling just to get to the game and then back again. I just thought that is commitment to the game, to travel, then play 90 minutes, and then even staying behind, chatting with us all, and and then making her way back home. So, say MK Dons will say much closer to home, and wish her all the best for the season ahead. So we'll also be keeping an eye on seeing how they get on.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, MK Dons are tier 3, but they're the southern equivalent. We've got a few clubs to keep an eye out on. Obviously, Cheltenham, Ez and Mike have gone there, and now MK Dons as well. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out on a few of them.
Yeah.
Lou Butcher, Lye Town. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprising one for me personally. Obviously, she got announced as officially retained. But obviously, it depends what Lye's offered her. If we can't guarantee her firstly in football, I suppose it makes more sense for if that's what she's after to move on. Obviously, her sister's there as well, so all makes sense really.
Family ties that they already at Lye Town, so as you said, depends what was the offer on the table. Whether it just maybe felt the right time to move on. So for all parties, but yeah, as I say. So another team we'll be looking out for as well, and seeing how some of our former players have been getting on across the season.
Of course. And then the last little piece of update news that we have: the Jamie Lee Bamford transfer saga has finally come to a close. She's made the move to Halifax. Obviously, she hinted on Twitter that she was going to be playing against us in our league again.
Yeah.
And Halifax it is. Obviously, we were speaking just briefly there. Halifax could potentially be one of our relegation rivals. It'd be interesting to see how she does, especially obviously given that the tier 3 experience she now has under her belt.
Yeah, so a good move for us, staying in tier 3, and look forward to welcoming them down back to the WMG and when we go up to Halifax, so hopefully not too good on the day against us, but any other team in tier 3 keeping all the goals out, but just to see how she gets on as well.
Exactly. Right, the incomings. We've got a lot to get through, so we'll keep it fairly brief with all these. The Lincoln trio, we'll call them. Tilly Phantom, Sinead Fletcher, and China McIntosh. All of them. Sinead didn't play on Sunday. Obviously, I think she's injured to start the season, which isn't what you like to see. But it can't be helped. But Tilly and China, I thought, were really good. Two of the standouts for me personally in that defence. Obviously, Tilly a centre half and China I'm trying to think what side she was on, a right back.
I think it was right back.
Yeah.
So I remember just seeing them, bombing up and down. So I was like, yeah. So she was one of the standouts for me on Sunday as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing across the season how she plays.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what me and John were talking about quite a bit in our last video. Not quite having that defensive cover just yet. Obviously, we had a few wingers, a few midfielders, but the defence seemed like it was lacking a tiny bit. But with these guys and a few guys that we're going to mention in a second, we've definitely bolstered that, and I think that's going to be really important for this season.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, looking forward to the season starting now and how all these players fit in, and how we go across the season.
100%. Another returning face. We've had a few come back to the War Memorial this season. Someone that wasn't here a massive amount of time. Was it last season or the season before? One of them two. I lose track of the time. But Thea Clerkin is back with us. Obviously, someone Aid knows from his time at Leafield. And I can't remember, where did she didn't leave us to go to Leafield. Was it Notts County, I want to say? Leafield first, then Notts County. Thank you, John, off screen. So yeah, she's come back to us from Notts County actually. Someone that we know, sort of a holding midfielder, can maybe play in defence as well. So yeah, good to welcome her back into the side.
Well, first time we only saw her for a brief period before she moved on. So it's good to have her back, and let's forward to seeing how she plays as well.
100%. And then another trio that we got here, the Birmingham Academy trio. Jess Hood, Phoebe Hill, and Grace Murphy. Two of those that we're familiar with, Phoebe and Grace. They played in our reserves semi-final, or was it the last day of the season? One of them two.
The Devs.
The devs. That's what I meant. Yeah. So yeah, we know a bit about them too. Obviously, Grace didn't play on Sunday, but Jess and Phoebe did, and I thought they were really, really good. Both sort of very, very technically gifted midfielders, which I suppose is what you expect when you come from an academy side. Obviously, clearly young players as well, so it'll be interesting to watch them develop throughout this season.
Yeah, obviously I didn't see him in that Devs final, but I heard from all of you how well that game was going. So yeah, so we've got some good players from Birmingham City Academy, so strengthened the squad even more. So yeah,
100%. Liv Ashfield, an attacker from Kiddie, also had a bit of time at Lye. Yeah, so that's another person to bolster that attack. Yeah, it's not a player that I know massive amounts of. I can't remember if I've seen her play for either one of those sides. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if she can offer something different. Obviously, we've got a few attackers now. We've got Leonie and Mill and Shauna McCann.
Daisy as well.
Yeah, Daisy of course.
As well.
Yeah, but can she offer something different? I don't know because she didn't actually play Sunday, so we don't really know a whole lot about her playing style just yet. But yeah, another person. You can't argue with squad depth, can you?
Yeah, so that's the key to a season. Having all that depth in the squad. So over the course of the season, you are probably going to pick up some injuries. So it's up to other players that are waiting there on the wings to take their chances and get into the first team.
Yeah, 100%. And then a couple of pathway players that we've managed to retain: Grace Rogers and Demi Phillips, two that I'm very, very happy we've kept because I think these two are some of the bright sparks in the pathway last season for us. Grace, obviously, we know really, really well, sister of Mill, and Demi as well. We've known for quite a while. A really, really tricky winger with a good eye for goal on her as well. Yeah, it'll be interesting, I think, to see how much aid includes them. Obviously, we've got Standard this season, playing in tier 6, 7. John's like our little confirmation man over here. But yeah, that's going to be really, really interesting. Will they be more suited towards that, or potentially coming off the bench in first team games? I guess it's up to Aid and what he's going to play this season. But yeah, great to have these girls with us as well.
And two players we've known really well from reserves and the devs that they played in. So yeah, Grace as well, getting to play alongside her sister. I remember Mill putting about herself. Finally get to play with my little sister in the team. So obviously a Rogers and Rogers link up.
I know. I can't wait. Hopefully we see one of them get the assist and then one of them get the goal. That would be really, really special, wouldn't it?
Celebrating with each other on that one. So yeah. Definitely know about the Rogers sisters. Demi obviously seen the devs and the reserves as well. So definitely a good player to keep an eye on and watch as well.
100%. And our last addition for the time being, I suppose, is Jess Howard from Solihull Moors, who's sort of a fullback. I think she played on the left on Sunday. So yeah, again, not a player that I know massive amounts of. She didn't actually play all that long on Sunday, so we didn't get to see her too much in action. But yeah, like we say, depth at the back I think is going to become really, really important to us. Obviously we're going to be one of those teams that are in and around the bottom this season. So to have those fresh faces coming in and bolstering the defence when we need them to, I think is going to be really, really important for us.
Yeah, I think going up some of the tier 3 sides we're going to go. Defence is going to be the key as well, and so that's where we probably strengthen the most across the pre-season. So good we're getting these players in, so we're not feeling like we're a bit light at the back. We're covering every position of the defence.
Yeah, and there we go. That's all transfer news covered. Yeah, obviously we've got our squad listed here. Is there anything particular you want to say about any of these girls? Maybe something that you saw on Sunday.
Thinking, well, I don't think she did play. Meg Halley, good to see her back as well. So back in the air, red and white. So say her and Mill now back as well. So hopefully, firing us to a good few wins over the course of the season. So and also see more Daisy Clement as well. So she was a good player for us last season. So getting the ball further forward as well. So and trying to develop the attack as well. So
Yeah.
and the other one was Leona Joyce as well. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her as well. So yeah, and also you mentioned Gwen Ellis. She played really
Yeah.
well on Sunday. So I was like, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting season how it all pans
Yeah,
out.
definitely. I mean, I look at this squad and like, there's no, sort of glaring holes in it. You know, we seem to have a lot of cover everywhere. Potentially, I don't know how bad Sinead's injury is. Potentially, maybe centre half is where we're kind of lacking at the moment. With obviously Tilly and Thea can sort of play there, I
Yeah.
suppose, and Arian as well. But yeah, apart from that, really, it's looking like a very well balanced squad. A lot of depth, a lot of choices that Aid has to make. I think that's really
A lot
important, isn't
more.
it?
I know it's pre-season and we've only seen the one game, so it's very much attacking. So it's whether they go with that in the tier 3 season. You know, obviously when we come up against the top teams, whether we'll employ that tactic of attack or be a bit more wait and see and then try and pounce on the air counter. So, but yeah, so it's definitely going further forward for Stourbridge as well.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about one of those big teams, so to speak. Wolves, the opening day of the season, Wolves away. Doesn't really get much harder than that, does it? Potentially, you'd say Forest are maybe the favourites for the title this season. But I suppose Wolves are next in line, really. Yeah, me and John have spoken about that just then. How do you see that going?
Yeah, it was like you said, Forest. The amount they're investing and who they're getting in, they really want to push to get to the championship. Like, I think I might have said to John or Kate Longhurst, who played in the WSL for West Ham, and I was like, Nottingham Forest have signed her. I was like, that's a statement of intent that they want to do well in this league and want to get up into the championship. So they're going to be a difficult side to play. But Wolves, I think from what I've been reading, they've had a few changes as well. So
yeah,
maybe it's maybe it might be the perfect opening game just to catch them on the hop and see if we can grab something out of it. So I know last season we didn't do so well against them. So I think my last before pre-season, my last game seeing Stourbridge was at home to Wolves, and it was not a very nice scoreline that we lost by.
No.
So hopefully a bit of a bit of a revenge, trying to nick a win, like get 3 points on the board early. It would be a massive result if we get something on the opening day. So yeah, we might go there and nick something.
Potentially. I mean, it's always on the cards, right? Like we say, sometimes playing these bigger sides when they've had a bit of a wild summer like Wolves have. They've got rid of quite a few players, brought a couple in as well. Potentially they're not all fully gelled yet. I know we've essentially got the same issues, but
like every team.
But I think especially with the changes that they've had to their entire infrastructure this summer as well. Could that potentially rock anything for them? Who knows? But yeah, I'm sure we're going to go into Wolves. Obviously, Telford, a stadium that we've been to quite a few times. Never really had much joy there. I did on Tuesday.
Night,
the men's side battered Telford, not just beat them, battered them. So yeah, hopefully the Stourbridge magic at Telford can continue. I know our youth side lost there last night, so potentially not. But
maybe 2 out of 3.
Yeah, third time lucky, right?
2 out of 3.
So yeah, that's Wolves, I guess. And then the season as a whole, Andy. How do you sort of see everything going? Come the end of the season, where do you see us?
I know what Aid said in his video. He's pushing for going up higher up the table compared to where we finished last season. But I say tier 3 now is becoming so competitive. So I say if you can manage, you said earlier in the to John, finishing 9th or 10th, I think that could be a good thing. It depends. Be interesting to see, within the first 6 games, where everybody lies, and which teams are going to be, up there at the top and, going to be there near the bottom. So as long as we can keep our head out of water, and pick up some good results, then, we can maintain our league status once again. So it's a long old season.
It is indeed. But yeah, I think we've sort of covered everything here. We covered all the ins, all the outs, a few predictions as well. So yeah, I suppose we've just got to prepare now. Get ourselves ready for Telford. Another little trek up the which motorway is it? Sort of the M5, sort of the M6, somewhere on there. Something like that, isn't it?
Like that. Well,
But yeah, another trip to there. Hopefully we can have some more joy, and I'm sure you'll hear about it in future videos to come on the Glasgow's network. But yeah, Andy, any closing words?
roll on Sunday.
Roll on Sunday. We'll see you there. Bye.